Now, it's no secret that YouTube has been shit from the start. But that being said, YouTube for seems like the past fucking decade has been decimated by Fortnite content. This trend, if you want to call it, started with, I don't know, some country gets paid too much or some clickbait cancer. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I actually still play Fortnite. I started about 4 or 6 months ago, and surprisingly, it hasn't consumed every fiber of my being to the point where all I can do is watch Fortnite videos on YouTube, thinking somehow Fortnite is adding hundreds of guns and different superheroes every fucking day, and the only things that I wear are Fortnite eat, sleep, eat, sleep, repeat t-shirts. But my complaining only applies to like 2 people, because in case you guys haven't heard, Fortnite is dying. Hold back your tears, guys, calm down. I mean, this guy says so, and this video has... Christ. Somehow it has even more views now. Now, without further stalling, I will now see and explain to you how Fortnite is finally dying.
To start this list off, the biggest problem in Fortnite, in my personal opinion, is bloom. I do not like the idea that it doesn't matter how good you are at aiming. It doesn't matter how good you are at tracking. Your aim is determined by a random number generator. You might hit the shot, you might miss the shot. It's completely determined by something completely out of your control.
From a gameplay perspective, this is a god-awful mechanic and should not belong in any shooter that you compete with other players. That is borderline objective. Every single person watching this video right now should agree with that statement. It is a bad gameplay mechanic to have luck be more important when it comes to winning a gunfight than skill. But for some reason, I don't think I will ever understand. Epic Games and the Fortnite community seem to think that this is okay.
It's right that bloom's pretty cancer, but keep in mind this comes from someone who's playing competitive first-person games for like the past fucking like 40 years or some shit, I don't know, mate. So I don't personally like how it is in the game, but I'm pretty sure it's in to condense the skill gap, because someone who was bad at aiming could get some hits, and someone who's good at aiming can just absolutely melt like the 5-year-old this is probably designed at. But I do admit it does punish good players. I don't personally like this. Now, you could say that building does counter that, but I am getting ahead of myself.
I used to think building was a problem in this game and that it should be looked at. The building mechanics in this game are hurting it. I no longer agree that building should be adjusted. After seeing big streamers master building and properly demonstrate the skill gap that it offers, I quickly went to master it myself because I fell in love with the idea of Fortnite utilizing skill-based mechanics. Building used to be okay due to not many people building at the time. The game was still pretty new at the time that I had mastered building. This means when I get eliminations, I'm gonna get more mats. When less people are building, they're stockpiling mats, they're not using them. I had more mats. I could utilize this skill gap as I see fit to potentially beat someone who might not be as good as I am. Fast forward 6 months, late season 3 to current, everyone's building. It's common knowledge at this point to be building. Even the really bad players that don't even know how to build are attempting to build and utilize the skill gap. All this means is when you get eliminations, there are less mats being distributed every game. Less mats means less of an opportunity to utilize the skill gap.
What was that skill gap? Didn't he say this game was too casual? Didn't he say that the beginning of Fortnite has been too casual, it's been its downfall? Ah, well, I mean, this has to pick up because 6.2 fucking million views. What?
Fortnite just needs more materials. Blitz was a beautiful thing. Blitz V1, mind you. Blitz V2 was a flop. It went from like, what, 150% material gathering to only like 50%. Like little things like this tell me that Epic doesn't like skill-based mechanics in their game because they're trying so hard to appeal to people that have literally never touched video games before in their lives.
Getting some materials to make spam building more viable and to force close range battles, which means that bloom wouldn't even matter because you're literally hitting a plank of wood. Okay.
Apparent by the most recent patches, Epic is doing everything they can to nerf the build shoddy meta. But
well, they literally just agree with me, so I don't even have that much more to say.
They want to be careful because they're fully aware that full-blown reworks to the core gameplay mechanics will kill the game on the spot. My example of this, H1Z1. This is what happens when you abuse your core gameplay mechanics and constantly adjust it based on feedback. You never touch the core gameplay mechanics. And Epic isn't. They're fully aware that they shouldn't do that.
No, H1Z1 died because it's shit compared to PUBG. That's literally it. It also died because they didn't change anything. It was too buggy. Almost like how PUBG fell off. Funny how that works.
But they're trying their best to nerf it in every other way they can. For example, changing llamas from 500 to 200, floor loot from 30 to 20. They don't want you to build. They don't want you to utilize the only skill gap the game has to offer. But they're not going to change it. They're not going to change how it works, but they just don't want you doing it. Why? Because it makes it really hard on the new players to get in and enjoy themselves when they're being outplayed. Which sounds good for business. It's smart for business. Getting more players into the game and enjoying it, that's great. But how scummy is that? To slap your dedicated players in the face because they're too good at the game. This is why Epic was interested in adding skill-based matchmaking. They wanted to keep the new players away from the good players so they would stay and invest in their product. That's not how gaming is supposed to work. If you're not good at something, you can't go into it expecting to be the best. If you do that with Fortnite and you quit because of that, that's your loss. You don't punish the players that took the time to get good at the game because the new players aren't able to compete with them. What you do is you add a training ground for the new players to get in and really learn the mechanics so they can compete with those that are way ahead of them. Or another approach that Epic has actually done, you could add limited time modes that keep the good players away from the bad players by not tracking stats and leaving the good players not interested in that mode.
Actually, that is how it works. How most shooters have worked since, I don't know, fucking Quake or something. I don't even fucking know at this point. Okay, so you'll have new people go in and get fucked just because they don't know how the game works. Because of how different it is from other games. Not Battle Royale games, just other games as a whole. And I know you went to this playground world to practice, but can you imagine someone new to the game? Instead of being like, oh yeah, like I see you over there, you saw this new game, you know, fucking Ali A, Ricecomb, Keemstar fucking playing it, I don't fucking know. And, you know, you have to go and practice this game because it's different, it's unique from everything for like 30 minutes. Because, fuck you, I don't know, I want my competitive game. That's pretty much how every game has been. I mean, even Overwatch has this problem, and so does fucking League, and so is everything else. Not honestly anything with like a competitive bone in its body. And fucking Minecraft probably had this problem, I don't even fucking know. If something is broken at the highest level, like a pro player level, like the top, like, probably less than the top 0.1% if we're being honest. But below that, no one really gives a fuck. And this isn't new to Fortnite by a long shot. Like I said, it's been around for fucking ever. Every game has done this. I don't know how this is Fortnite's problem, and you can't even solve this problem. Because if you were to nerf something that was overpowered, say like double pump, then something else overpowered just takes its place. It doesn't change. I mean, I know it sounds pretty harsh, but like, I play Fortnite. Like, I still play Fortnite. My faggot friends play it. They pretty much forced me into it, but I still play it. I'm not dick riding Fortnite. I'm just saying that it's like, it's an alright game. I'm not saying it's like absolutely terrible. I'm pretty sure this guy isn't either, but I mean, he's a YouTuber who's probably writing this just for the fame. Just like I am. Fuck.
The only reason I use and enjoy shotguns is because they're consistent. Even at point blank, SMGs have a chance to miss your target and you can miss out on damage, and that adds up quickly. Why would I, under any circumstance, use a bloom-based weapon when I can use a shotgun that's going to guarantee damage based on my aim? There really is no reason, and it's a shame that half of the community is trying to push this game into a bloom-based submachine gun or AR meta. It is disgusting, and they don't understand what they're doing to the game.
Then why are you playing a game where your chance to even get a gun, to even have a chance to even play the fucking game, basically, is based on luck? I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, he says it does cater to the most casual people. I mean, look at the average Fortnite fan. I mean, like, that should even be able to know what a gun is. But I don't see how that is a problem. I mean, look at League of Legends versus Dota. League of Legends is more casual, and I mean, even the dev team has said so in the past. The League has a more consistent player base and a higher viewer count on Twitch and YouTube, etc. If you want to compare it to even another Battle Royale game, PUBG. PUBG is more competitive, and it focuses more on long-range shots, which is something that he seems to be obsessed with. But compared to Fortnite, it does have no viewers. People don't want to put the time in to playing a game for hours a day, a casual, fun game, you know, relative to everything else. I mean, it's not CSGO or anything like that. Just to learn the specific niche intricacies of a genre that's probably going to die in 10 years. Fortnite has more viewers because it's easier to pick up and play, even with the building and everything else that people, you know, say makes it skill-based. It's easier and it's more casual, and it appeals to more people because so. I don't see how it's a problem, and I don't know why he's complaining about it.
Shoddy build meta is not my preferred meta. If I had the choice to build this game from the ground up, I would make it AR focused, projectiles, bullet drop. I would make it similar to the sniper. Imagine shooting AR projectiles like the sniper. You gotta lead your shots. You have to aim higher than the target if you want to hit them and they're far away. Like, that's how I would base this out.
So PUBG basically. Okay, I'm done. Fuck this, man. Before you go thinking, say I'm dick riding Fortnite. I really hate this game. I want it to be mainstream. Also, it's impossible to skip the hype. You have to play this fucking game. This man wants PUBG. I mean, this guy's really getting tired of Fortnite, and therefore he says it's dying. It's not dying. You just don't want to play it, mate. He has a follow-up video where he basically just corrects a bunch of the things that he says. But honestly, do you care? I don't fucking care. I mean, he doesn't care either, because he skips through this person's video and reacts to random parts. Alright, guys, that's all I gotta say. I have a stream, by the way. I'm obligated by law to mention that. I mainly play Fortnite. Oh, fuck, this is awkward, isn't it? Yeah, I also play League of Legends, though. So, I mean, I'm not a complete solid faggot. I'm just a faggot. Make sure to leave a like if you want the new Super Smash Bros. Game to be Battle Royale.